everybody, it's Julia Laird with Senior Susie Stamps, and today I wanted to make some more Easter cards. I have a few made and I'll show you those in just a few minutes, but on these eggs I cut those with a Biggs die, and it's this Big Z number 665098. I just recently got this from Amazon, and I will leave a link down below in case you're interested. But you don't need to have a cutting die. You could cut a shape by hand and cut it out of paper, or you could cut them on your Scan and Cut, and I will show how I did that on my Scan and Cut at the end of the video, because I know a lot of people don't have Scan and Cut, and I don't want you to feel like this is all about Scan and Cut, because it isn't. It's about Easter cards. So I got some medallion stencils last fall from Amazon, and if they're still available, I'll link that below as well. But there's all kinds of different patterns of little medallions, and I got them for doing flowers and butterflies and whatever, and I thought, well, they would make great little Easter eggs. So let's get started. I'm going to get a blending brush. Now I have a little soaking tray here that has just a little bit of soap in it, and I'm going to use these and then dump them right over there so that we can keep working towards our Easter card goal. I need 20 to go to the nursing home by about the middle of March, and I realized today that I only had 16, so I'm going to do 3 or 4 more here. And I have these little stencils taped to the back. I got them laid out where I wanted them, and then I just went ahead and taped them, and we'll start. This is some Memento Tangelo ink. It's not really quite the right color, but I think it's going to do fine for what I'm working with here. I got into my Easter supplies this year and found a bunch of scraps. I thought I had used them all up last year, but I didn't. And I got a little piece of tape right here that I'm going to peel back so that it doesn't obstruct my stencil. And I'm going to do this darker in the middle and then lighten it up towards the outside, so maybe it'll have a little bit of dimension look to it. These have been really pretty on the little cards that I've been making. Now I am going to take my little baby wipe here and kind of wipe off this surface area, and I'll set this one aside and we'll do the rest of them. I'm going to wipe the little blending brush just a little bit on that baby wipe and get it cleaned up a little, because I'm going to change colors. And this is Memento Pear Tart. I just chose some bright colors that I thought would be pretty and might kind of sort of go with this scrap paper that I've got going here. So, and they'll all be a little different, which I thought would be kind of fun. I like these little medallion stencils. I've used them several times on different things, and they were really inexpensive, especially if you consider the quantity of stencils that you get. So I hope you'll check out those. I'll set that one aside, and then we're going to change over to Rosebud, which is a really nice bright pink. These eggs are 2 different sizes. This one has got some little points in there, so I'm kind of want to be a little gentle on the pressure that I put on this one, because I don't want those points to bend up on me. But I want to get the most ink saturation in the center so that it kind of blends out to the outside there. And one more. See how quick and easy these are? Doesn't take but just a little minute here to get them done. And then we'll do a little reveal, and then we'll look at some cards that I've already got made, and then we'll make some cards. Yay! I'm getting there. Hang on to it now. All right, here we go. Ooh, isn't that pretty? I just think these are so pretty. And such a fun, quick way to make little Easter eggs. Ooh, I can't wait to see that one. Can you? What a beautiful color. Oh, one of my, hey, did you see my nail polish? I never in my life thought I would wear green nail polish, but I was in the Dollar Tree the other day, and I found this green nail polish, and I thought, oh, I kind of like that color. It's called Seafoam, and it's one of those LA colors, you know. And so I thought, well, for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree, I can try that and see if I like it. So I did. And here we go. Now, let's see what these look like. I think they're going to be really pretty. Look, aren't those sweet? Oh. And let's look at this green one next. I just used some repositionable tape, clear tape, on these because I didn't want to have to drag my washi tape out, and it works really well. Now, if you saw last week's video on making Easter cards from white paper scraps, you will recognize the dazzles that I'm about to use to go in the centers of these. Give me 1 second to get this one pulled apart. There they are. Aren't those pretty? And that particular cutting die also has some bows with it, so I may make those later on. I may not, you never know. Let me get rid of this tape right quick because I want to pull some of these little dazzles out, and they are holographic, so they got a lot of shine on them. And I'm going to put some in the middle of some of these. Maybe a big one would be good. There. It just really kind of makes it pop a little bit, doesn't it? Maybe that one. Let's do a couple more here. Here we go. There's the last one. These remind me of Fabergé eggs for some reason. Of course, you know, they're not anywhere near as pretty as Fabergé eggs, but they are pretty, I think. So, those are the Easter eggs. And now, let me get this kind of cleaned up, and I'll show you some cards that I made to start with. So, I've got a bunch of them. I'll show you some to begin with. So here's an example with a little Easter egg. Now, the reason I got started on these cards this year is because when I got into my paper drawer, I found all manner of little scraps of paper that I didn't remember I had. So this is where I started, was with these scraps that are cut to A2 first layer size, and that is 4 by 5 1/4, except for this one, which I think is the second layer down, and that would be 3 3/4 by 5. So that was my starting point, and then I just added as many little elements to these as I could possibly come up with just to get some of this paper used up. So I ordered these little toppers from paperwishes.com. Let me show you the package. It's right here, and they're called Easter die cuts. I'll link those below as well. And I found them that they just worked very, very well for this project. So let's go ahead and look at some of these. You can tell that I used my little Stampin' Up! Bow punch there. And the only thing on that bunny that really ties into this card is the little pink on his ears. But it works for some reason, to me, at any rate. Now here's a kind of weird guy. I found this fun little stamp for egg hunt, and then on this one I thought, oh well, that might make a nice little signpost. And I had already cut these little rabbits. I punched a this is a die cut bow, and the color on those eggs right there kind of pulls this pumpkin colored polka dot into that card. And here's another sweet little guy, and the only thing that ties him in, again, is the pink on those ears, but I think it works well. Now, these little egg, decorated eggs are from Sprinklets, and they're called Easter eggs, NK134. I got these from paperwishes.com. I don't know if they still have them or not, but you can search for that if you want to. And here's another one. This one's just got the white flowers. Remember, we made these last week. And look how sweet that little bunny is. I just think it's precious. Now, I really, really like these leaves. Those ones that we did with the overall pattern, I tried to use some of those this weekend. I just couldn't warm up to them, so they're probably going to go in the trash can if you want to know the truth of it. But aren't those sweet? And you can see the little dazzles, and very simple card to put together. And this was the same way. I kind of picked up on the colors between the bunny and the Easter egg and tied it in with this, and then used the scraps. Put a little bit of those little tiny decorated eggs in there and a little strip on the inside. I've got some more over here, but let's wait and we'll look at those at the end because I don't want to wear you out. I know you want to get started making some cards. So what I did was to take all my papers and all my little bits and bobs that I made last week, and I put them together in some little packets, and these have fallen out, so I'm going to set them up there and remind myself that they're there. So each one of these little packets will be like a little mystery. Let me get rid of this and get it out of the road. And today I am going to use my art glitter glue because I want it to grab quick, and art glitter glue in my glue supply is the fastest grab glue that I have, so that's what I'm going to be using today. And let's just see what we have here. Looks like I've got some things to go on the inside of the card, and then I've got some stuff to go on the outside. This is the reverse stencil image, and I'm not sure on that one. I think I might swap it out to this one. We'll see. We'll see. It's hard telling. I might do it that way. You never know. But this shape was the one that I cut on the Scan and Cut. And let's just see what we got here. These are pretty straightforward cards. I tried to use as big a sheet of scrap paper as I possibly could just to get them used up. I did my best not to do a lot of cutting and fooling around with it, because the whole goal here was to get some cards made and use this paper up. And I think it'll maybe get used up this year, which would be fun. I think last year, I just don't remember making a lot of Easter cards for some reason. I know I made some for the nursing home, but I'm not sure I made them for the senior center. But we are going to do that this year. I also make some for the folks that receive Meals on Wheels. Now I'm going to put this strip kind of right down the middle, I think. I'm going to use my little grid mat here just to help me gauge it, and run it straight on up there. It runs the full length of the card, so that's pretty easy to see. There we go. And then it looks like I might need a little tiny trim off here. I'll get that while I'm thinking about it. And let's see, pull the colors out here just a little bit. And so I've got the yellow in the flowers. And looks like I might have a third little layer here to go down. Let's put that on too. And we'll put that right up in the middle. I need to get my little Dollar Tree cutting board out of the way so that it doesn't reflect the light so bad for y'all. Hang on just a second. Now you'll notice here on the Easter blessings that I used my corner chomper and just cut some corners out that were similar to the tag itself. And that kind of helps with the continuity of the card a little bit, I think. You may agree with me on that. I kind of like it with pink. That's what we're going for. Let's just glue this on here and set it up. Try to kind of get it in the middle. Then I'm going to glue this down flat, and we'll probably put this up on a little foam tape. So let's get that done. Doesn't take a whole lot of glue. I think I was going to slip this up underneath there. Let's see. Maybe right like that. And then I'll just put some glue on the back side back here for the sentiment. I'm going to put this up on some foam tape. Starting to run a little low on foam tape. I'm probably going to have to stop and get my roll out. I didn't put the labels on the backs of these cards, so my little release paper supply has dwindled just a little bit. There. I think that's going to be really sweet. Now, I have a little tiny bow in white, and I believe I'm going to put one of those dazzles on it in the center. Oh, and I've got one over there, so let's use it. Just use this tiny one here. And then we'll use our little yellow flowers that we fixed last week. Kind of scatter them around a little bit and tie some elements together. I think maybe like that. Now these have the lift between the white layer and the top, so I'm going to glue them flat down. And when I say tying elements together, what I mean is I'm going to pull 2 or 3 elements into underneath this little flower, because I think it helps the cohesion of the card just a little bit, rather than having them hang out by themselves so much. This is just kind of a little design element. And we've already got the yellow flowers in here, so we're pulling through with that here. Now I may need to have just a tiny little piece of foam up underneath the side of that to finish this flower out. Let's see how that works. Not very much, is it? But it just kind of levels it out a little bit. There we are. There. It's going to be a sweet card. Now on the inside, I have this little piece left. And I'm going to put it across the bottom. And I'm going to use those 2 little yellow flowers to finish off the inside. I'm not going to stamp these yet. I haven't pulled the inside stamps out of the drawer yet. But I do want to get as many elements into these cards so that they'll be easy to finish. And that way I can get them delivered. And then these little yellow ones here just go right up in there. And card number 1's done. And I'm just going to stagger them a little bit, just to make it a little more interesting. And there we go. So, let's see what card number 2 looks like. Oh, here we go. Green and pink. Classic. And I believe that must be where this little guy came from, because I usually try to put 3 or 5 in. So let's see, what do we have here? See, this is a totally different stencil than that other one was. Makes a little difference in how they all look together. And I'm not putting any backer layers on these. I'm just using the pattern paper and using it up. Yep, that one was long enough to leave long. So that's good. And I'm going to put that in the middle. And it comes all the way to the edge of the card. And there we go. Let's see. I think that's an extra piece. But I think this one's going to go up on top of here. I'm going to go ahead and get it glued down. And what I did on these, when I could find the hole left in them, I just put a piece of that clear tape on the back just to hold the hole in. Because on a lot of these little things that I'm gluing to it, that's really kind of the surface area that I'm gluing to. And I didn't want to just glue to an empty hole there. So I'm going to put a little piece of foam tape on the back of this one so that it can lift up some. And it's going to have this big Happy Easter sentiment, probably right in the middle. And then let's see, kind of like that. This is very similar to the other card. And then some little flowers around and inside treatment. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. When I was putting these cards together, I had them all strode out all over the top of my craft desk, and I just kept trying to add a little bit here and a little bit there, just little elements and little bows and whatnot that kind of pulled the card together, because the papers don't really go together. And that was the way I managed these. So I ended up with 15 or 16 cards all lined up here on the desk, putting them together with all the little elements that we made last weekend. And I think it worked out pretty well. It was easy to do once you had them all laid out and the main, the primary pieces put in, then it kind of worked itself out fairly well. There. Now let's see, I wonder if we want a little heart there. I mean a little flower there. I kind of like that. I'm going to put a little drop of glue right in the middle of that and just glue it down. And then I'm going to kind of scatter these around. I'll keep one for the inside. How about that? I like it. Okay, here we go. And remember now, these were just all scraps. And so we're dwindling down on the scrap pile a little bit, which is always a bonus, isn't it? Now, I think I was planning on thinking about putting these kind of in here with a one little flower on top. And I think maybe I'll just do, that one has a little angle cut. Let's just see what this looks like on the inside. Yeah, so that one goes all the way across, and then this one will be a little partial, and this one we can just kind of put over there somewhere. I think that'll be all right. Just a tiny little drop of glue is all you need, and I'll stamp the inside as well. Ooh, I just found another flower. I think I'll put that one in there too. And if we have to sacrifice another card, one flower, then that's what we'll just have to do, because I kind of like that look a little better on these little tiny flowers. There we go. There's the inside. Okay, here we go. Now let's see what's in this one. Move my little green strip over here to the strip area. Let's see. Looks like we have a sentiment that goes all the way across, maybe. Let's get this piece put down. I kind of used colors that don't necessarily always go together, like yellow and orange, because in this little guy here, see, there's orange in there along with the yellow, so it all ties together and works, I think, very well on these cards. And they're bright and they're cheerful. Nice little Easter cards, I think. All right, let's see. I know this is going to go there. And I'm going to put just a tiny little piece of tape right here to hold that center in, and glue my little bow down. My little art glitter glue bottle is getting a little bit used up. And I will say this. Of all the glues that I've used in these little tiny bottles, the art glitter glue is the only one that I've had to pull a pin out and open it back up, but it has not been often. So, I really like these little tiny bottles, just saying. Let's see. I believe I'll put this one back behind. There we go. And I think we're going to put it right up the middle also, and it hangs over, so I've got a little wiggle room on each end, which is kind of nice. trim this off. Now, if I recall, I kind of planned this one to where the Easter blessings would go all the way across the card. And then this kind of goes up. Maybe kind of like that. And then this is just elevated up as a focal on top of that. I think that's right. Yep, here we go. I'll glue this one down. What you got there, Puss Kitty? Oh, an empty tape roll, I see. Cordelia's over there playing as usual. She's kind of got to get in the act a little bit when I'm up here talking to myself. So there we go. I better go take that away from her, because otherwise it'll distract both of us, won't it? Hang on. So we're just going to put this right kind of in the middle on an angle and let it go with that. I'll probably put some of those little decorated egg embellishments on this and see what it looks like. And put this on. Kind of a little wonky maybe. And then I think we'll pull some of these out. And then I'm going to put this little strip on the inside and put some more of those little Easter eggs on the inside for an embellishment on the inside. And there we are. Card's waiting for a little embellishment, a little stamp on the inside, and it's good to go. Well, these are orange and pink, not a combination again that I would necessarily think of. But let's just see if you think it works or not when we get finished. I didn't have quite enough bow material. I didn't realize I still had some of these pieces in the drawer to make the top loops, so I just did a little double punch of the bottom ties on these bows on the punch. That's old Stampin' Up! Punch that I've got. And I did see some of those bow punches available on eBay, but boy, you got to look for them now. I'm just saying. It's one of those things where if you see one and you don't have it and you want it, you better get it, because they cycle through on a rare occasion. There, I think that's going to be pretty that way. Let's go ahead and put this piece down. And again, it doesn't have any purpose really, except just to give it a little bit of pink in the background. I'm going to try to kind of get it up in the middle of the card. And there we go. I think that'll work just fine like that. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine right there. This one I'm going to put up on a little piece of foam tape. And am I going to glue that down flat, or am I going to elevate that up? I think I'll glue that one down flat also. Now, to me, I think this card needs just a little more pizzazz. And so I'm going to pull some of those dazzles out and see if we can bling this card up just a little bit more, because there weren't any flowers or anything to add to this one. So I'm going to cover this little spot right here, because I don't really want it sticking out and looking weird. There we go. Now, what did I do with the dazzles? Here we come. Right here. And I'm going to look for some that are a little bit, maybe this size right here, put in there. And maybe a few smaller ones too. Put one up here, perhaps. And then let's try to get one kind of down below a little bit. Ooh, that one kind of came apart in half. Well, that won't work. They're so small you can't really get them to go back together again. Maybe right there. Right there, I think. And I think I'll do one more little smaller one. This one I think is a little smaller, and it came from this row here. And there. Now, I think that's going to be fine. I'm going to put this little strip on the inside. And maybe just a few little dazzles, because that's all I've got left for this card. I used up all those flowers that I made, and most of the leaves last week. I probably ought to make a few more flowers because I still have 4 or 5 cards designed to go with this set. I think maybe just 2 will be enough for that on the inside. Yeah, just right like that. So that's just a sweet little inside treatment and uses that little bit of scrap, and we're done with that card now. Okay, we got one more to make, and then I'm going to show you the rest of them. And you can let me know if you have a favorite. I would be challenged, honestly, to have a favorite on these. Let's just see. I know this goes down as the first layer. And then we've got all these little bits and bobs. And let's see what we got going here. This color here, the kind of periwinkle blue, I think. And the purpley ones on the little bunnies and characters here. I think there's a duck also. They were a little more challenging to figure out. Well, let's just start with what we know, and I know the bow goes on. And I know that strip goes inside, so let's just see what we got. I'm going to try to cover that little hole up. Get my little bow to stick. And then I'm going to start my layers. This paper came from several different paper companies. One of them was some Echo Park. Some of them were from Paper Wishes. I think this came out of a pack for Paper Wishes. And this is some old Stampin' Up! Paper I got several years ago. So I'm kind of really glad to get this stuff used up. Now this strip will go all the way across edge to edge. And I'll put my Easter egg down. Right to the edge. Maybe we'll do kind of like that. And you won't notice that second tail's not there. Okay. Sounds good. It may kind of be like a little double flag. This really not a double flag. Okay, I'll put this up on that last little piece of foam I've got. Kind of at a little angle. Get him up far enough. There we go. And then I'm going to just glue these down. And kind of angle that to go with this. Just a little bit. And I think we'll put a few little dazzles on this one as well. Put this on the inside, and that card's going to be done. Just to tie the front to the back, inside. Here we go. And there we are. Let me show you the rest of these cards I didn't show you at first. And then we'll go over to the scan and cut. And if you all are interested in seeing where that little egg shape is. Isn't that cute? I just think that's the cutest little bunny. And I love tulips, so that was right up my alley. And here's another one. And I used that strange oddball color again because of that egg right there. Now this one I didn't have much paper for, so I just elevated the sentiment on there, and I think it works just fine. This is one of those lavender colored ones. You remember last week I made these little lavender flowers. Well, they worked for that along with those leaves. And here's a little blue and pink one. Such a sweetie. And then this one. So that's all the Easter cards that I've got done now. Let's go over to the scan and cut, and I'll show you, if you have a scan and cut, where that egg shape is so that you can use it if you need to. Hang on. I'm over at the scan and cut station, and here's Miss Cordelia and her fat self. Hi, boys. What you doing? Huh? You're a good girl. Now, I'm just going to turn it on, and I'm not going to cut anything today, but I want to show you where that cut file is. Of course, you click OK, and you'd load your paper then. And this is under Patterns, and it's going to be up under these shapes. And then I go several layers down until you get to BA-A098, and that's the egg shape. And you can adjust the size of it however you want to, and I think I made those a little smaller. On the ones that I had, I think it was 3.15 on the width, and then you can add as many as you want and hit set. But I found that 4 was about as many as I could get onto an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and that's what I was using because I was making them out of white cardstock. And then you click OK, and you click cut, and then it cuts. So that's easy to do, and you have 4 nice egg shapes in whatever size you want, and then you can either save the pattern or delete it, and I'm just going to delete it because I've got some patterns already saved in there. But you can see how it would be easy to cut several at one time, so I'm going to turn that off and lay my machine back down. But that's where it is in the pattern file if you want to cut some on your scan and cut. Mine's an old model, CM350. I did the update recently, so I don't know if that file was already there on the original. If you don't see it, perhaps you need to update your machine. So anyway, this is Julia, and I hope you all have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.